What's shaking bacon? Welcome to the Bartender and the Butcher. Today we're going to be going over my favorite bar tools. There's quite a few of them, so we have broken them down into 3 separate categories. The first is going to be the bare minimum, the essentials of your bar. The second is going to be the things that I'd add on after you already have all the essentials that you need. And the third is going to be the bells and whistles. Everything that you need when you become like me, an alcoholic, someone that's very into making syrups and trying new things. There are of course many more things that you can add on to this, but this is going to be showing you my progression throughout how I built my home bar and what I used while doing it. So let's get into it. To start level 1, it's going to be going over the essentials. You can do what I did and buy a 12-piece set from Amazon for $20. Only use half of it and replace the half that you used anyway with nicer pieces. Or you can do what I recommend, just buying the nicer pieces off bat. Start with a few items because you're not going to use the whole 12-piece set anyway. It's going to be better for you and it gets you more inclined to start the hobby. So my beginner level tools are going to consist of a jigger, a hawthorn strainer, and a shaker. These are the 2 jiggers that I own. One came in that crappy bartending set that I got from Amazon that I did use for quite a while. The other is an OXO one that I got at Target a little bit later. And this one is just 10 times better in my opinion. The main reason is because there are measurements on the inside that go 1/4 ounce, 1/2 ounce, and 1 ounce on the smaller side, and then 1/3 ounce, 3/4 ounce, and 1.5 ounces on the other side. The original one that I got didn't have any lines. It's just a 1 ounce and a 1/4 ounce. So for example, if I need a 1.5 ounce pour, I'm gonna have to do a 1 ounce and then 2 1/4 ounce. However, on the OXO brand, a lot of the times I will just use the smaller side, do a 1 ounce, and then I can just fill it up to a 1/2 ounce on the 1 ounce side and pour that in. I typically do this so that the 1.5 ounce side doesn't have anything in it. So when I put it on the bar, it doesn't get sticky and both sides aren't used, only one side's used. So it just makes my bartending a little bit easier and keeps it a little bit more clean. So for the second item, you're gonna want a hawthorn strainer. These are the 2 that I have. You only need 1 in bartending. They fit on your shaker or they fit on pretty much any pint glass. This one I got from the Amazon kit. This one I got from Barfly quite a bit later. I love this hawthorn strainer that I got from Barfly, and this one that I got from Amazon, and I wish I never bought it for a few different reasons. One, the spring is a lot looser. It's a lot less dense. That allows more ice chunks, blackberry seeds, lemon seeds, whatever it may be that's in your shaker to get through into your serving glass when you're pouring the cocktail. Also, the back has a lot of open area that allows for even more ice chunks to get through versus the Barfly one where the spring is extremely dense. It leaves very little area for anything but your cocktail to get through. The back has almost no holes in it. It is almost impossible for anything to get into your drink once you're pouring. The last of the essentials is going to be a shaker. If you don't want a shaker, you can also use 2 pint glasses, pass them back and forth, and then just use a hawthorn strainer. Like I said, it fits on top of the pint glass is fine. However, it doesn't incorporate that much air into a lot of cocktails, which give cocktails a certain texture. So I would recommend just getting a shaker off the bat. There's typically 2 types. You're gonna have a Boston shaker, and then you'll have a cobbler shaker. I do not have one. Mine broke. Here's a picture of it. It is essentially 1/2 of a Boston shaker with a little dome on top and the little cap on top of that. You'll pull the cap off and it's a little strainer on the inside that you can strain right from there. A lot of the times when you're trying to pour, the ice will cover up the small holes in the strainer on top and you have to shake it to get it out. 2, the seal on those things are extremely hard to open up because I tried to take the cap off one time and while trying to take it off, it sliced my thumb open and I will never use one again. So here's my Boston shaker. Much more simple, 2 cups that fit inside each other. You can have a lot more volume in them as well. You'll fill the smaller side with ice pretty much to the top. You'll fill your other side with 1 or 2 cocktails depending on how many drinks you're making for people. Put them together, they make a seal. To open them, it's also a lot easier because you just pinch, allow just a small amount of air to get in, and it comes right off. And moving on to level 2, I'm going to be adding 4 tools to your home bar. A juicer, a mixing spoon, a mesh strainer, and a muddler. The juicer is going to be even more important in your bar than it is going to be in your kitchen, I think. The reason this is level 2 is because technically you could use your hand to juice a lime, but then your hands would get sticky, and if I am sticky while making drinks, I'm not happy while making drinks. So just get a nice all-metal one that's going to last the test of time and is sturdy. I've seen plenty of times where people have gotten plastic juicers, and while squishing it, the handle breaks, the hinge breaks. This is an OXO one. Pretty much everything that I have of OXO has lasted. I don't think anything's broken, actually. And this juicer has juiced hundreds, potentially thousands of limes. So this is what I would recommend. Next up for level 2 is going to be a bar spoon. So you don't necessarily need a bar spoon off bat. You can use a teaspoon. However, a bar spoon is going to have a longer handle. It's going to be weighted a little bit better, and it's going to have a spiral handle, which allows you to mix cocktails a little bit easier. It's also used as a measuring tool if certain drinks ask for a bar spoon or a very small amount of certain ingredients. So this is a fine mesh strainer, and you might be asking why you need another strainer. This is going to be used in conjunction with a Hawthorne strainer pretty much all the time. You're going to be pouring your drink through the Hawthorne strainer through this into your cocktail glass. It gets all the very, very small pieces of ice that got through your Hawthorne strainer. This will make sure no ice gets into your final cocktail. It also allows it to incorporate just a little bit more air into the drink, giving it a little bit more of a silky texture. Other than making cocktails with it, I pour all of the super juices or the syrups I make through it, just to make sure there's no extra little bits of sugar that didn't fully dissolve in my final syrup, just to essentially ensure that nothing that I don't want in the bottle gets into the bottle. Just a little bit extra protection. And lastly, on level 2 is going to be a muddler. This is essentially just to smash up your ingredients. If you don't have a muddler, you can use a spoon or your hand. A metal one is my preferred. There's wooden ones. The only thing is some of the oils, the liquid from your berries or citrus are going to soak into the wood, and it's going to be a little bit harder to clean. This one has little peaks to really grind it up. So if I'm doing a blackberry style cocktail, you can put blackberries on the bottom. If I'm doing like a whiskey smash with lemons, I'm going to use my shaker. I'm going to muddle up the lemons in the bottom to really express the oils from the lemon peel. It is a more complex flavor than just using like a syrup or a juice. That is about it for your smasher. Finally, for level 3, we're going to have these items here in no particular order. Except for probably the mixing glass being on top. If you're making stirred cocktails like old fashions, this makes it a lot easier to make multiple at a time instead of making them each in their own separate glass. If you do not want this, you can also just do it in the shaker as well and just use your bar spoon. These items are going to be what you need when you start experimenting more with making your own mix-ins. Check out my video linked in the description below for my mix-ins. So you're going to need a funnel to pour your syrups or your different juices or anything that you might make into the bottle. You're going to need the pour spouts just to make it easier to pour your syrups or whatever it may be in the bottle into your cocktail. For me, I like to use grams and ounces when making my syrups to make sure everything is super precise. So I have 2 kitchen scales here, one that goes into ounces and then one that goes into very detailed grams, and a nut milk bag, which is essentially going to be the strainer of strainers. Any liquid that you want will go in the top, and it will filter out every little thing inside of it to just get a nice clean liquid. You're not going to use this for syrups, but you'll use it for juices like my super lime juice. I've also seen people use it with coffee. So these are all going to work together to get you all the mix-ins that you might want to experiment with and try yourself. So that's why all of these have no particular order. I would recommend trying to get all of these at the same time. And that completes level 3. Like I said before, there are even more tools and varieties that you can have in your home bar. The only other tool that I have that I didn't mention is going to be a Lewis bag and a mallet to crush ice. That is all this is used for. I actually haven't used it yet because I already have access to crushed ice. But if you didn't have access, you just put ice in here, fold it over, and crush it up. It's just a bonus. That's why I didn't have it a part of my top 3 levels. And there you have it, my guide to all the bartending tools that you're going to need at home. Pretty much everything is going to be linked down in the description below if you're interested in any of it. And make sure you check out Hannah's video for all of her favorite butchery tools. If you liked the video or learned something, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more bartending and butchery content. And until next time, goodbye. What? Yes, director. Well, you were shaking your head no. What was the thing you wanted me to say? Yeah. Excuse me. Or a fine or a nut milk. Wait, is it? I think we could stop.